Personal space and boundaries. Set your own personal space and your boundary limit. You know, just like with this pandemic and how people have to stay 6 feet away from each other, kind of like a grave is buried 6 feet deep. You have to set boundaries for yourself for how much you will take. How much BS will you take from people? You know, of course, in life, we have to deal with people, and sometimes we have to do stuff we don't like. Compromise. Give and take. But don't sacrifice your morals. Don't allow people either to walk on you. You have to stand up for yourself. You have to be your own advocate, because if you don't stand up for you, nobody else is going to do it. And if they do, they're not going to be able to represent you to the fullest, because they are not in your mind. You live in your head, not them, right? So who better to explain what's going on with you than you? People sometimes can't respect boundaries because you haven't set them to begin with. Oftentimes we're quick to judge people and get mad at them and say, oh, they did this to me, they did that. But let's take the accountability here and say, well, did we set boundaries with these people, or did we allow them to walk on us? Or did we allow them to sway our decision outside of our own belief, but we just went with them to appease them? You got to think about these things, because if you're compromising your boundaries, you're quickly going to lose yourself, because the things that have meaning to you will stop mattering. Things that are important to you will eventually not even be available to you, because you have removed yourself so far from your original self by going a different route, or allowing people to disrespect your boundaries by making you, well, nobody can make you. I take that word back. You have free will, so you are responsible for your actions. People are going to do certain things. How you react to them is your choice. See, I myself have had a problem setting boundaries with people, and I'm working on that. That's the thing that goes along with abuse. People who have been through a lot of abuse sometimes go through a phase called fawning. And fawning is where you actually appease your abuser. It's similar to Stockholm, but not quite the same. It's more like where you try to entertain them and keep them from hurting you in some way, shape, or form. People kind of do that on a daily basis too when they talk to people, but on a lower level, in that we don't fawn per se, but you may humor somebody. Oh yeah, I agree with you, just to shut them up or just to get away. Even if you don't agree, people sometimes will have a tendency to be like, Don't do that. Listen to what people are telling you. Take them at face value. If a person betrays your trust, word is bond. If they've broken your trust once, chances are they're going to continue that cycle. Don't get mad at them. Just set boundaries. They're stuck in their own ways. If you don't like their ways, that's okay. Let them live their life, you live yours. But don't let them have control over your situation. Set boundaries. Sometimes that can be really hard, especially if it's family, someone close to you, because we'll often have a fear that if we set a boundary that those people won't like us anymore, or that there will be some type of negative repercussion. When really, that's not the case. That's you standing up for yourself, and more times than not, those people are going to respect the boundary because you have now set what you will and will not allow. See, how do you want people to treat you? Of course, the golden rule, do unto others, right? So you do right, you want right back. So setting boundaries does not mean being rude. It doesn't mean fighting with somebody. It doesn't mean gossiping behind their back. No, gossip gets you nowhere. If you have an issue with a person, you talk directly to the people that it was with. It does no good to speak to outside sources to cause more chaos and drama by trying to get these people to agree with your perception, because you may feel slighted or someone passed a boundary that you liked. But you got to hold yourself accountable. You can't blame everything on everyone else. It's hard. I know. I'm trying to do that with myself. There are certain things that I struggle with taking accountability for, because I can be kind of irresponsible or flighty sometimes, and I'm working on it. And it's hard, but I'm working on it. I'm setting boundaries with myself of what I will and will not compromise my whole being for. I'm setting boundaries with people on the outside, but respectfully. You know, oftentimes in life, we find that we have a choice. And oftentimes people will choose the easiest choice, which is to repeat a cycle because you know what to expect if you've done it a million times, because the same thing keeps happening over and over. And people get comfortable in that. Don't get comfortable in that. See, you want to continuously change, grow, learn. You know, a good teacher has to have been a good student. And a good teacher also has to continuously learn and be a student. You know, and the older we get in life, we're looked at by young people as their elders, and they come to us as their elders and expect us to guide them. I've kind of dropped the ball a bit there in that I have lost my internal compass, so to speak, in a way. So I am realigning that motherfucker and getting back on track. If you mess up, though, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. But set a boundary for yourself, too. If you pass your own limit, recognize it and change it. Don't compromise. It's not worth it. It's not.